I feel like do you have this issue where like your guest kind of loses the excitement level about it? Like if you circle back, you go, hey, remember you came in 3 months ago. Here, I'm putting that episode up, and getting them to engage with it themselves. Is that a challenge or no?
It is. That's why I'm doing 2 a day.
Right.
I'm getting texts daily at this point from guests that came on 5 months ago. Like, did my episode drop?
Right.
So yeah, it's a learning lesson. I'm new to the space.
Sure.
Yeah. Wherever you guys are watching this show, I would truly appreciate it if you follow or subscribe. It helps a lot with the algorithm. It helps us get bigger and better guests, and it helps us grow the team. Truly means a lot. Thank you guys for supporting, and here's the episode. Guys, we got Jon Orlando here today. He's finally back.
I'm back.
You're rarely here.
It's a rare sighting that I'm in this building.
Yeah, that's how you know you're killing it though, right?
I guess. I don't know if I'm killing it yet, but I'm trying to kill it. I'm out there hunting.
Well, you're expanding, man. It's cool to see you grow in multiple cities.
Thank you, man.
You're in Miami now, right?
Well, we're in Boca, close enough, but we are going to go proper in Miami.
Nice.
Yeah, Dallas, Scottsdale.
That's dope. You've been in the podcast space for a minute, and you're like part of the growth and evolution of the industry. What changes have you been seeing recently?
Man, well, it's funny. When I moved here to Vegas 7 years ago, I guess it'll be 8 years in July, I went up and down the strip. I met with every single hotel, including Wynn, pitching podcast studios. And everyone looked at me like I was crazy. This is in 2017.
That was early.
Right. Podcast. I don't know. What is it? I don't know. Internet radio? I don't know. That's what they would say about it. And now, obviously, you see there's Blue Wire at Wynn. Yeah. There's VSiN over at Circa, and they were at South Point, or they're still at South Point. I'm not even sure.
I haven't heard of them.
I think every single studio, every hotel will have a studio at some point. Some are going to do it better than others. So it's just the awareness of podcasting has grown. And people thought it's funny, the podcasting people thought it had peaked in 2017, 2018. And the people that really don't know about podcasts, it wasn't even on their radar screen yet. It's funny how when you're in the bubble, you think it's bigger than it is. Yeah. And when you go outside the bubble, you realize no, there's still so many people that don't even know what's going on.
Dude, so many people started shows in the past year. It's crazy. Yeah. A lot of athletes I noticed. Like pro athletes are starting, even baseball players. I've got a baseball background.
Yeah. I kind of think it'll be like Instagram. I think like if you have an Instagram page and a TikTok page, you will have a podcast. Obviously, some are going to be horrible, just like Instagram, right? It's like there's some that do it like you, and then there's me. Yeah. I just think it's such a great platform. If you are a content creator, this takes out a lot of the work, right? You sit down, you have a conversation with somebody for 20, 30, 40, 60 minutes. Yeah. And then you get all those clips out of it. And there's your content.
It's not too hard. Just spend a couple hours a week and you got content for the week.
Yeah, yeah. You bang them out like a machine, man. I've never seen anybody that just tackles it like you do.
We got 6 today, dude.
That's amazing. But I feel like you just did 6 a week ago.
I know. I did 6 on Tuesday, yeah.
So how often do you release them?
I'm a daily show now.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yeah, but what's crazy?
What?
Since I'm 6 months backed up, I have to start releasing 2 a day starting in January.
I believe it.
Just to catch up.
Right. And do you worry about the thing I don't like about putting them in the can is I feel like do you have this issue where like your guest kind of loses the excitement level about it? Like if you circle back, you go, hey, remember you came in 3 months ago. Here, I'm putting that episode up, and getting them to engage with it themselves. Is that a challenge or no?
It is. That's why I'm doing 2 a day.
Right.
I'm getting texts daily at this point from guests that came on 5 months ago. Like, did my episode drop? Right. So yeah, it's a learning lesson. I'm new to the space.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know if there's a right or wrong answer. I think it's just, you just do what you can do. And you're probably trying to capitalize on, you're really hot right now, right? It's like you've got a lot of momentum. So it's like, why not just keep getting,
I want to be more current, because I notice when you talk about current events, it gets more views. Right. So I don't want to be talking about from 6 months ago. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's why like shows like Fresh and Fit are so like hot, because they're talking about stuff happening on the spot, and they're live.
See, I don't have the balls to go live because my ego, I only have ego when it comes to live views. I can't handle someone like me. It's going to be like 24, 31.
Well, that's probably how everyone starts, right? Yeah. Aiden Ross had like 5 views the first year.
It's just so tough. I also feel like it's a young man's game, and I'm not young. So it's weird.
Age is relative.
It's weird.
You look young.
Thank you. I'll take 10X. Shout out to 10X and Gary Brecka,
we're
right?
gonna dive into that.
Yeah.
And Gary's been getting a lot of heat. I'm not sure if you see this on social media.
Yeah, I have, and I don't know if you get, but I get a lot of DMs too of people complaining about it takes too long to get the results and all that. And I just tell them the truth. I say, look, the guy, Dana came on my podcast. I just happened to, I didn't know what he was I didn't know he was working with 10X. Yeah. I just said, Dana, I go to every fight. I seen you shred down, what are you doing? And that's when he said, I had my blood work done. This guy, Gary Brecka, told me I got 10.4 years to live. And just from that episode, that one clip got like 9 million views on my Instagram.
Yeah.
Right. And 10X got like 5,000 inquiries, Gary told me, just from that. So imagine where they're at now. Like it's you've started businesses. When you're a startup, it's tough, man. It's tough to get your process down and get the team together. Yeah. And I don't think they were ready. Who could have predicted this kind of like rise for 10X? So I just tell my friends, and even a lot of strangers that just listen to my show, whatever, and they're like, hey, I signed up with 10X. It's been 6 weeks, whatever. I'm like, I get it. Be patient. Don't give up. Mm-hmm. I try to reach out to Sage and see if if I can help or whatever. But it's a great company. It's a great program. They'll get it.
It's growing pains. Yeah, it changed my life too, man.
For sure.
I used to get sick. Great, dude. Yeah, I used to get sick every month at least.
Yeah,
and now I haven't been sick in a year.
Isn't it wild?
Wild,
right? Are you on keto also, or?
I'm on pretty much whatever they said, which I love their recommendations because it's all natural.
Yep,
it's all holistic.
Yep,
there's nothing synthetic. And I found out I was basically allergic to enriched food. Did you have that one?
Yep.
Exactly. So I was eating bread every day my whole life. And that's why I was sick.
Don't you love it?
Yeah, bread is fire.
You can't do it. Yeah. I just went to Italy.
Yeah.
Because their pasta you can get because it's from Italy. It's not enriched or whatever. Nice. So I just got a box of it, like literally boxes of it.
That's fire.
So I haven't tried any yet, but I'm excited to have pasta again.
Yeah, dude. I miss pasta. I used to eat it all the time.
Right.
Everything's enriched here. It's terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, and they don't have that problem like in Italy or in Europe anywhere, right? No. It's just here. This country's crazy. It's great, but it's also crazy.
And it makes you wonder, because I know you used to play baseball. You were probably eating terrible food.
Oh, God. Awful.
So you could have been maybe in the MLB if you had a proper diet.
Who knows? Because I've suffered from chronic tendonitis on and off for years. A lot of joint pain, which also comes from sugar and inflammation. I was eating sugar. I was literally like Dana. Mountain Dew, Twinkies, candy, like just sugar addict.
Yeah.
Between that and pizza and pasta, it's just
Domino's,
yeah, all that.
Fast food.
Yeah.
Same, dude. And I was a distance runner, so that really takes a toll on you. But I was still pretty elite.
Right.
I could run a half mile in a minute 59.
Really?
Yeah, mile in 4:40.
Oh, wow.
And that was on a
You
diet,
run a 4:40 mile?
In high school, yeah.
Savage.
And that was on a diet because the school lunch is terrible, let's be honest. Did you eat that or did you bring your own?
No, I brought my own, but I brought crap.
Even that, yeah. You're bringing a white bread sandwich.
Peanut butter and jelly. Doritos
and a soda.
And a Coke.
That's not much better, and it's pretty
terrible.
Wild. Like our kids are going to be animals.
Yeah, I was drinking before Gary Brecka got a hold of me. I'm not kidding you, Sean. 8 to 10 sodas a day between Mountain Dew.
Are you serious?
I swear to you, between Coke, Mountain Dew, and Dr. Pepper. Because I also ate out 3 meals a day, at least 2 meals a day.
Yeah.
And when you eat out, if you're not mindful of diet and being on a program, you eat like a lunatic, right?
Wow.
It's like bread and like Cheesecake Factory, like 2 baskets of bread.
Oh, man.
Like just crazy.
Those cheesecakes are deadly.
So good.
Dude, 8 to 10. So how many pounds were you?
When I started, I was 207.
Okay.
Today, I'm 175.
Wow. So you cut 30 pounds.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
In a year.
And it was easy.
Are you interested in coming on the Digital Social Hour podcast as a guest? Well, click the application link below in the description of this video. We are always looking for cool stories, cool entrepreneurs to talk to about business and life. Click the application link below, and here's the episode, guys. Just diet.
Yeah, the first 2 weeks sucked. I was like, I'll never make this. I'll never make it.
Yeah.
And I was texting Dana every day, and I was like, dude, this is so hard. And he's like, stay on course. You'll be all right. I was like, all right. And then I lost like 20 pounds, and then it stopped. I stalled out for a few months. I was still on the program, but just no more weight came off. And I didn't have a goal weight. I didn't even, honestly, when I was 207, I hated, like when I watched the Dana episode of Action Junkies, my face looks fat, and it had been bothering me leading up to that, but I didn't have a target weight in mind.
Yeah.
But then when I started seeing abs, I was like, oh my God, like there's that old saying all these fitness people have, abs are made in the kitchen, not in the gym.
Yeah.
And I never really understood it until you go through eating properly in the kitchen and you realize the abs come. It's unbelievable. Like, you don't have to do hundreds and hundreds of crunches to get abs.
Yeah.
You just need to eat right.
Yeah. I hate crunches, dude.
Terrible.
They're annoying.
Running, cardio, and crunches. I'm out. I don't want to do it.
Running on a treadmill's got to be top 5 most boring things in life.
I can't do it.
I don't know how people have the mental strength to get through it.
Yeah.
It's so boring.
It's so boring. You're not going anywhere.
No.
It's like you're like a hamster.
It's like torture, man.
Yeah.
How'd you meet Dana and build a friendship with him?
It's kind of a funny story. So can I go long on a long story?
Yeah. Do it.
All right. So I'll try to go quick. So my dad is Tony Orlando. You're too young. He was a famous singer in the 70s, had a TV show in the 70s. He was in the movie That's My Boy with Adam Sandler, if you saw that movie. So when my dad turned, this is 10 years ago, when my dad turned 70, he was adamant, do not throw me a birthday party. So we knew he meant business. It wasn't like people might say that, but deep down they still want you to do it.
Yeah.
We knew like, don't throw him a party, right? So my stepmom says, look, why don't we get a bunch of his peers and showbiz friends, let's just get them to send in like a cool video, happy birthday, Tony. Maybe they tell a little story. We'll cut it all together and we'll show it to him.
Yeah.
I was like, I love this idea. Bro, I went crazy with this idea. I got Adam Sandler. I got Kiss in full makeup. I got Steven Tyler. I got Michael Bublé, Garth Brooks, Celine Dion, Kenny G playing Happy Birthday. Lionel Richie telling this crazy, amazing story how when he first got into showbiz, my dad kind of took him under his wing and how he was the nicest star Lionel had ever met was my dad. Demi Lovato, as she's walking on stage, Happy Birthday, Uncle Tony.
Wow.
Like, it was insane. The Jonas Brothers make all these crazy, amazing art. Jimmy Kimmel, David Letterman. I mean, it's crazy.
Dude,
over 100. Just a lot of them my dad already knew.
Okay.
So I just was texting people or calling their manager. And a lot of them I didn't know. One of them was Dana White. I was like, this is my chance to get to Dana White.
Yeah.
So I call the office. And this young girl answers, and I say, hi, my name's Jon Orlando. That name's going to mean nothing to you. I said, my father is Tony Orlando, but from the sound of your voice, you sound kind of young. That name probably means nothing to you. I said, but I promise, if you send your mom a text or your grandma a text right now, and you said, I'm talking to Tony Orlando's son, they will think that's really cool.
Yeah.
She starts laughing. She's like, how can I help you? I said, well, I'm looking to get Dana to send in a birthday video for my dad. He's turning 70. Here's the list of people I already got. We're not putting this on social media, and we never did. It's just for my dad's eyes. Could Dana send in a video that says, happy birthday, Tony?
Yeah.
She says, I'll pass the message. 5 minutes later, I get a call from Dana White, from a blocked number. So it usually means my dad, right? So I answer the phone, hey, what's up? I'm thinking it's my dad.
Yeah.
Your old man's Tony Orlando? I said, what? Who's this? It's Dana White from the UFC. I go, shut the fuck up. He goes, yeah. He goes, what do you need? I tell him. He goes, yeah, you'll have it by next Friday. I said, okay, great. He sends the video. We cut them all together. It's over an hour long, right?
Damn.
So my dad's birthday comes April 3rd that year, and we show him this video. My dad is bawling because it was kind of like what people would probably say at your funeral,
right?
But only he got to see like what he means to people ranging from Demi Lovato, how like he was kind of like her mentor, like when she first got into the business, all the way up to Lionel Richie, right?
Legendary.
So my dad says, what was that with Dana White? Because he was like, my dad's never met Dana, whatever. I said, well, that one was for me. I just wanted to get to know Dana. And Dana invited us to a fight Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah. So
my dad's like, all right. So we go to this fight. We're 3 rows behind Dana. After the first fight on the main card, Dana turns around and says, Tony, come here, So we go up, we start talking to Dana, and he says, get your phone out. He points to me. I go, oh, man, a pic would be great, 'cause I've met everyone growing up, Sean. I mean, you name them, I've met them. De Niro, Pacino, I mean, I've met them all.
Damn.
I was starstruck meeting Dana White.
Really?
Yeah, because, I'm a huge UFC fan, as you know, and I'm an entrepreneur, so it's like he's a double threat, right? It's like he's not only a boss, kick entrepreneur, he's the president, well, now the CEO of one of the coolest sports, if not the coolest.
I'd say it's the coolest.
Right? It's the coolest. Yeah. So it's like being a rock star, right? So meeting him was a big deal. So he says, get your phone out. I'm like, picture. Yeah, great. He goes, no, we'll get to that. Take my number. Okay. I take his number and he says, You don't pay for tickets anymore. You call me. I said, don't Saturday night talk me, Dana, because I'm going to abuse the out of that.
And every event.
And I've been to pretty much every event since.
Even the slap ones.
Even the slap ones,
that's awesome.
Which are fun, right?
Those are sick.
Yeah.
And that was 7 years ago that happened?
It'll be 10 years in April or May. Memorial Day weekend, 10 years ago.
What a great gift to your dad. That's one of the best gifts I've ever heard, honestly.
Yeah.
How were you able to stay grounded growing up around so many celebrities? Did you not get caught up in that lifestyle?
I never did. I have always seen kids of celebs, get hooked on drugs and stuff and blame the dad's fame, and everybody's path is different, so I'm not on them. But my parents were pretty normal. My mom was very normal and my dad was normal. He wasn't a party guy. He was, he had a hit TV show for 3.5 years on CBS. But he was a normal, my dad, if you run into my dad in an airport, from head to toe, I promise you, he got everything he's wearing at Walmart. Like, my dad is normal like that, There's no, like, star stuff. I always say, like, if you meet him and you want to take a quick pic with my dad and you're in an airport, make sure you're not going to miss your flight because he's going to talk your ear off. You're not going to get out easy. Like, he doesn't rush an interaction.
That's cool, man.
Yeah. So, I grew up pretty normal. I mean, to me, it was normal. I mean, I grew up taking limos to Dodger games. That's not normal.
That's not normal.
But my parents were really nice people, and I just followed in their footsteps. My dad wasn't really a drinker or anything. I don't drink. I never got into. I had one little crazy year where I was popping some Molly here and there. I got a little crazy from the time I was 30 to 31. I kind of went off the deep end.
Midlife crisis.
Yeah, probably. But other than that, I've been pretty normal.
That's cool, man. Because a lot of celebs' kids, man.
Yeah.
These child actors or whatever, dude, they go down a dark path.
Yeah, I think I was lucky in a sense. I was so young. When my dad's had his first hit records, I was 1.
Okay.
Or the year I was born, really, even 1970, 71. And then when he had his TV show, I was ages 3 through 7.
Oh, so you don't remember much.
I remember, but I didn't, it's different than I think if I was a teenager.
Yeah.
I think that probably could have been a different deal for me.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
When did you get into poker? I know you made a deep run this year in the World Series.
Yeah. So, playing in high school, just home games and stuff. And then in the casinos, not till probably Rounders, when Rounders came out in 1998,
classic.
Started playing, and then I really got serious. I know this is like this everybody's story, and poker players hate hearing this, but like when Chris Moneymaker won the World Series in 04 or whatever that was, 03 or 04, something like that. And it was kind of like, well, if he can do it, I can do it kind of thing. I still have yet to do it, but I've won a couple small tournaments. I had a great run in the 10K Turbo Bounty this summer. I got a text from you. That made my day. Getting you're like, is this you? You're looking at the leaderboard. It's kind of trippy to be like, Sean, I was chip leader in that tournament, $10,000 bounty tournament, Turbo Bounty, literally from like 11:30 in the morning all the way till 1 a.m. I was chip leader. So it's like Jon Orlando, Phil Hellmuth, Jon Orlando, Phil Ivey, Phil Hellmuth. And I remember when we made it into the money, Phil had literally 3 or 4 chips in front of him.
Wow.
When we made the money. And we were on break and I cruised up to him. I've known Phil like 10 years also.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, Phil, you'll get back in this. He was like, nah, this one's yours. He's like, this one's yours. Go get it. And I was like, all right. And Phil, being the savage he is, he grinded back, and the wheels fell off for me around 1 a.m. And I went out, and I think I was in 35th, maybe.
Wow. Out of how many?
693 or 4.
Damn, that's awesome.
But and Phil ended up winning it.
He won it?
Phil won it.
From 3 chips?
$800,000 Phil won. Sean, I already spent the money. I thought I was going to win this thing. I was like, I spent $200,000 around dinner break. No, so I ended up cashing for like $38K with the bounties.
Okay.
It was the best I've ever done.
Nice.
First World Series cash. Actually, no, I cashed before that in the 1600 Turbo Bounty.
Okay.
Like a week before that.
Yeah.
And it was really fun. It's a trip though. Like 693 or 4 people played, and I remember Randall Emmett texted me the night before, and he says, "Are you going to play the main?" Which was like a week later, and I said, "Yeah, I'm going to play the main." But I said, "I'm going to play the 10K Turbo tomorrow." He writes back, laughing my ass off, "No, you're not." And I'm like, "What?" And Randall knows I play. I'm certainly not a pro or anything. And I write back, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Bro, 10K turbo bounty, you're not playing in that event. Don't be crazy. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, dude, it's all pros. And I was like, what? He's like, just play the main. It's a softer field, you know, because you might have 8,000 people in the main or 10,000 people, whatever it was this year. But a lot of them are just recreational bucket list players. They won their way in off a $150 satellite. It's just a different class of players, you know. But I took offense to it. I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, bro, you're literally going to be the only non-pro in this tournament. Like he's like, I remember the text. He's like, you have no business playing in this tournament. And I'm like, I'm writing back. I'm so mad, you know. I'm like, I will cash. Like, I'm going to cash, you know. And then I started to having doubts before I went to bed. And I was like, maybe he's right. Like, am I just throwing away 10K? Like, I know he knows what he's talking about.
That's a lot, too.
It's a lot, you know. And I was like, it, I'm going to play, you know? And so I played, and I was kind of like nervous at first, you know, and Sean, when I sat down at my table, Randall sends me a text. So he went from being not a hater, but, you know, just talking the night before to then supportive, like poker mentor kind of role. So he's like, take a video of your table and I'll tell you tell you who's who. Okay. So I take a quick video. I'm acting like hey guys, I got a podcast, Action Junkies, you know, whatever, right? But deep down, I'm just trying to get, take inventory. Send Randall this video. And he's like, bro, to your left is Ren Lim. Stay the away from him. He's a savage. I look him up on like Hendon Mob. He's like 7 million or something in career earnings or something. But he's also like a monster cash player, you know, hardly speaks English. I go around the table. Randall's like, stay away from this guy. Stay away from that guy. Then Ben Lamb comes late. He was like player of the year in like 2013 or 2014 or maybe 2016, whatever it was. And he's like, bro, that's Ben Lamb right across from you. You know, so then Ben sits down. He says hi by first name to every single person at the table except me. Yeah. Proving Randall is right. Yeah. I'm literally at a table full of pros. So now I'm in my head and I'm just like, oh my God, what have I done? Like, I can't believe I've done this, you know? Yeah. And I win a couple hands, you know, but I'm still being like, anyone re-raises me, I'm automatic fold. Even if I have queens, I'm like, oh, and there's like a king on the board, I'm like, fold. Yeah. You know, like I'm
playing tight.
I'm playing super tight, which is not normally my game, you know? I'm very aggressive. And at the first break, I've got like 220,000 in chips or something. And you start with 60K in that one. Wow. So Randall's like, you have 220,000? He's like, bro, you're chip leader. And I'm like, no way. He's like, go find anyone that has a poker news credential and just go ask them, hey, how many, just say, hey, is anyone else have like over 200K? Yeah. And just see what they say. So I go up to a guy and I tell him, and he's like, you have 220,000? I said, yeah, I have 200. I think I had 226 or something like that. Yeah. He goes, you're chip leader. Phil Hellmuth has like 180 or something. I'm like, no way. So then they started writing about me. Then they come over there taking pictures. Like, I've never had that. It was kind of fun. It was really cool, you know? Dude. And I just stayed up top, you know, and then I got my mojo and I started to get some swagger and I started talking, which is kind of my game. Nice. And yeah, I had a good run.
Bro. Yeah, the poker tournaments are so fascinating. Stephen Jones just came on.
Yes.
Yeah, he got second in the World Series main event.
It's amazing.
It was crazy. He won $6.5 million.
Yeah, that's incredible.
And it's a 10-day tournament, dude. Yeah. Like, how do you stay so locked in for that long?
You have to stay so locked in. You have to get lucky too. Yeah. Right. You can't have suck outs, and if you do, you got to keep your wits in it, you know, and not let go on tilt. That's where it happens to me. Like if I lose a chip lead or I lose half of my stack or something, that's the part of my game I need to sharpen up.
You go on tilt.
It's really tough. Yeah, I do. Like I feel like I have to get it. You know, I have to get it back and like quick. And you don't. You just got to be patient. But it's really hard sometimes I bet. To remember that.
Yeah, it's similar to chess, man. When I start losing a couple pieces, I start getting mad.
Yep.
You know?
Me too.
Yeah. Damn. Back to the UFC though. Are you a big fan? Do you have any fighters you support a lot?
Yeah, I mean, I love Conor. Still my favorite.
Still?
Yeah, still my favorite.
Wow, that's a true fan right there.
Yeah, I know. I wish he kind of would go back to like funny Conor instead of like, sometimes I feel like he seems a little bitter. Yeah. Like in the social media and stuff. But you know what? I don't know what it's like to go from welfare to $100 million net worth or even more inside
of four. He sold his company.
Right. Proper 12, right? So it's like, I don't know what that's like to be worth that kind of money going from how far down he was to how far up he is to then also the fame and stuff. So it's like, it's easy to hate. Like, who knows what you would be like? Or, I mean, I like to think I'd be the same, but I don't know, you know?
It's tough to put yourself in those shoes.
You know, but he's exciting to watch, and I like the build up. I like GSP, you know, George St. Pierre.
Yeah.
Those are probably my top two. Right now, if you were going to say Conor's not like current, and you were going to pick some fighters, I mean, there's so many guys that are great. Like, I like Sugar Sean.
Yeah.
You know,
He just came in your studio.
Yeah, he was I wasn't here, sadly, but he came in for someone else's show. You know, I'm busy if I can't be here to meet Sugar Sean, you know. I like Brandon Moreno. He does his show here.
Yeah.
You know, I like Sean Strickland. You know, there's a lot of guys. There's a lot of exciting fighters now.
Yeah.
It's a good time in MMA.
Absolutely. If you had to do power slap against someone, who would it be?
Oh, man, I don't know if I could do it. I think those guys might be more crazy than the UFC fighters because you're just opting in to let somebody tee off on you with your hands behind your back.
Yeah.
Could you do it? I couldn't do it.
I think there's like some brain damage.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I couldn't do it.
I don't think it's worth it.
Is there an amount of money? $1 million, do you do it? Yeah. $1 million, I'll let anybody smack the shit
Depends on
out of me.
who.
Mike Tyson.
No, you're getting knocked out, bro. Even at his age.
Is there an influencer that you would like to have a power slap with?
If I felt like they couldn't knock me out, I would consider it.
Okay.
But a knockout's like some permanent damage, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to get knocked out.
Have you ever been knocked out?
No, have you?
I've been one time.
Wow, in a fight?
A fight that I didn't know I was in.
Oh,
yeah.
He blindsided you?
Yeah, it was kind of weird. On my birthday, this is the night Tupac got shot.
Okay.
A long time ago. Before you were born, Sean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, what, 95, right?
I was born in 97.
Or 94. This was 94, 95. Or no, 96. Yeah, this was 96. September 8th, 1996. My birthday. I go to a strip club here in Vegas.
Which one?
The one across from, it was Hard Rock at the time. So it was called Club Paradise at the time. Now it's called something else. It's right across from Virgin now, which is the old Hard Rock. I go in this strip club, and I was coming back from I was with a bunch of buddies, and I'm coming back from the bathroom, and there was this hot blonde dancer. And so, you know, like you kind of pass a girl and you like look back at her or whatever, you know? So I did that. And when I looked back, she was pointing at me, and I could read her lips because the music's loud, you know, and she yells like, "That's him. That's the one." And I'm looking behind me, like, who is she pointing at? You know, but I didn't realize she's pointing at me. Yeah. But I didn't realize. And then this huge bouncer that was standing next to her starts walking towards me, and like big, like 6'5", just jacked, bald guy, like just looked like a fucking monster. And I remember him. He points at me. He goes, "What did you do?" And I remember backing up, and I remember putting my hands up, and I'm backing up from him. I just remember saying, the last thing I remember is me saying, "I didn't do anything, I swear." That's the last thing I remember. Now, the next thing I remember after that is there's a bunch of people standing around me, and I'm on the ground, and I'm getting up, and they walk me outside the club, and they were like, "Do you need a ride home?" And I said, "No, I'm staying right over there," and I point to the Hard Rock. Yeah. This was so new in the Hard Rock's existence. There was a chain link fence around the parking lot, and the parking lot was dirt, or half of it, that side of it, on the Paradise side. And I remember saying, like, "No, I'm staying right there." I don't remember crossing the street. I don't remember walking around the chain link fence to go to the next thing I know, I'm at the front desk. And the front desk manager comes up to me, I didn't realize she was the front desk manager at the time, but whatever. She comes up and she says, "You know, can I help you?" And I said, "I need a key to my room." And she says, "Okay, just need your name and your ID. What's your name?" And I said, "I don't know."
Damn.
Yeah. And by the way, I don't remember this conversation. She, the next day, told me about this conversation.
Wow.
Okay. And so then she said, "Well, do you have your license?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I reached into my pocket, and she said that I said, "Am I bleeding?" And she says, "No." Like the inside of my lip was like cut up.
Yeah.
And she said, "Are you all right?" And I said, I got hit. And she said, "Someone hit you here?" And I said, I remember looking around, and I was, because back then you could see the casino from the front desk. Yeah. And I said, "No." And I remember I reached in, someone at the Hard Rock earlier that day gave us all passes for the strip club, like 2-for-1 entry.
Oh, yeah.
So I had a bunch in my pocket. So I pulled out of my pocket and I handed her one of them. And I said, "I think I got hit here." And she looks at, and she's like, "Oh, you went to strip club." But she's thinking I'm drunk. Yeah. You know, but I don't drink, and I never drank. even back then.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So this guy that we had met earlier in that day that happened to have the room next to mine, he sees me, and so he cruises up to me, and he's like, I got him. He's standing right next to me, door. I got him. He's just drunk, whatever. He hardly knows me. I just literally met him. You know how you meet people in Vegas, whatever. Yeah. So he walks me to my room, and this is like 4:00 in the morning. So a lot of my friends had tapped out already, and just the degenerates were at the strip club, so like half of us.
So you were alone?
I was alone. I was at the strip club with 5 people, but they didn't. I left to go to the bathroom where we were sitting, so they didn't even know any of this has happened.
Wow.
They don't even know I got beat up. They know nothing. They're still getting lap dances or whatever. They don't give a Yeah. So my buddy opens the door, and this guy says, "Oh, your buddy's drunk." And my friend says, "No, it's impossible. Like he doesn't. No way. Like he doesn't drink. Birthday or not, no way."
Yeah.
So I come in and my head's pounding, and he says, what happened? And the bodyguard, the bouncer looked like, do you know who Jay Buhner is? You might be too young. He was a baseball player that played right field when Ken Griffey Jr. played center field for the Mariners. Okay. He was the right fielder. The bouncer looked just like Jay Buhner. So I said, I think Jay Buhner beat me up. And the guy, my buddy, was like, Jay Buhner was at the strip club? I'm like, no, it was like a bouncer or something. Yeah. I really didn't know what happened. My head was pounding. Now the paramedics come to the room because the front desk lady got nervous about me. Yeah. So sends the paramedics. So I remember they said to me, I do remember all this now. I remember them saying, I want you to I want you to go to the store and pick up 3 things. And then I'm going to ask you some more questions. And then I want you to tell me what were the 3 things I told you to get from the store. I said, okay. So he says, I want you to get a loaf of bread, a carton of milk, and a dozen eggs. And then he starts asking me my name, and I'm like, I couldn't remember my last name. He's like, who's the president? I said, I don't know. He said, what city are you in? I said, Vegas. I knew that. He's like, where were you tonight? And I said, strip club. He said, what's it called? I said, I don't know. He said, okay, what did I tell you to get from the store? And I said, a loaf of eggs, a carton of bread, and 12 milks. Damn. And he was like, you have a concussion. So yeah, it was crazy. But
wait, so the bouncer knocked you out?
So the next day I fly back to LA. I missed my morning flight. I couldn't do it. My head was pounding. I just couldn't do it. So I had one buddy stay back with me, my buddy Gio, who you might know, who hosts Fitness Junkies, big black guy. What's the point of being in a strip club with a big black guy if he's not protecting you, Sean? So we ended up taking this late flight home, and it was bugging me now 2 days later. I'm like, what happened? Like, why did this happen to me? So I call the Hard Rock, and that's when I speak to the lady at the front desk. And she tells me that whole story that I just told you about the interaction. So I call the strip club. I said, hi, my name's Jon Orlando. I think your bouncers beat me up the other night. He said, oh, you're the guy. Hold on, let me get the managers. Okay. So the manager comes on the phone. He's like, yeah, how you doing, man? I said, well, I'm just kind of wondering what happened. He said, well, unfortunately, what happened is you grabbed one of the girls. And I said, no chance. Like, not my style. Like, no way. He's like, well, alcohol gets the best of us sometimes. I said, listen to me. I don't drink. I do stand-up comedy. I've been coming to this Vegas since my dad's been working in Vegas my whole life. I know how Vegas rolls. Yeah. I don't step out of line. Certainly not in a strip club. I promise you I don't drink. And then it started to click. I remembered the guy in front of me. There was this guy in front of me that he was looking back at her too. I think what happened. So he said, the guy accused me of grabbing the dancer's crotch. Kind of like I walked by and maybe I grabbed her or whatever. Yeah. And I'm like, actually, I think the guy in front of me did it because he looked back too. But I thought we were both looking back at the hot girl. Yeah. I think he grabbed her, but I'm taller than him. So when I looked back, she thought I grabbed her and was looking back to see what her reaction was. And she thought that I did it. That's what I think happened. So I said, okay. So I said, the last thing I remember was backing up. I don't remember the guy swinging. He said, well, I don't know who swung at you first or whatever. He said, but by the time I got over there, you were on the ground and other people had jumped in. So he's like, one of our customers was kicking you in the head and someone else was kicking you in the ribs.
Jeez.
I don't remember any of that. And he's like, and then the bouncers were just breaking it up. So I don't know if it was the dancer's friends. Maybe she said that guy grabbed me and they came after me from behind. Yeah. So while I was backing up from the, I don't know.
Wow.
What
and back then there's no security cameras.
There was cameras, but so it's kind of funny you brought this up. So I had a really bad gambling problem back then. Yeah. Just blackjack would get the best of me all the time. Mm-hmm. So my mom had asked me, please don't go to Vegas on your birthday. Like, don't have another like gambling meltdown. So I was like, I promise I won't. I promise I won't go to Vegas.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to tell her that I came to Vegas and like start with like lawsuits and because then I'd have to come clean. I didn't want to upset mom. So I just.
Oh, so you let it go.
I let it go.
Damn. Because you could have got some money for that.
I could have got a lot of money. If this happened, and also I was a little naive back then, Sean. I didn't realize how much money I could have got.
A lot.
A lot.
Probably $1 million, dude.
At least.
Yeah, because that's head damage.
Yeah, for sure.
Like if you went to a doctor, got a brain scan,
yeah,
you could have claimed. Because anything with the brain, you could get a ton.
100%.
Yeah.
But, you know, I didn't.
Live and you learn.
Live and you learn.
Yeah. So you had some big gambling issues, though?
Back then, yeah. I mean, I had some crazy. Yeah,
so you're an all-in type of guy, like.
Yeah, I used to be. Now, you know, I used to do stand-up comedy, and so it's like the combination of growing up. Even though I came out semi-normal, I didn't, like we talked about, famous dad, didn't get into like drugs and alcohol and all that. Definitely gambling was my vice. Didn't respect money. You know, when you do stand-up comedy for 10 years, I was making anywhere from $1,500 all the way up to $7,500 in a night. The average was probably $2,500. So I didn't do a lot of comedy clubs. I had like a reverse career because of my dad, luckily, you know. So I started by opening for him. So the first time I was ever on stage was to 2,000 people.
Holy
for my dad.
Were you yourself?
Oh my God. Yeah. I was supposed to just do 5 minutes. 5 minutes is all I was supposed to do. And Sean, I went through my material in probably 2 minutes, sweating like a pig, talking so fast. Entertainment Tonight was there videoing it. And like, they couldn't even find, it was so bad. They couldn't even find like the 5 to 10 seconds to put on the air.
Wow.
They did, but what they put on there was like terrible. Like I was awful. I mean, embarrassingly awful.
I mean, it's your first time.
First time.
Yeah.
You know, I never did. That was literally my open mic.
I'm surprised I didn't scare you off from doing it.
I just kept at it. My dad was super supportive. Like, don't worry. My dad, you know, said like, don't worry about laughs. Just be likable up there. Like, don't worry about laughs. Laughs will come.
Yeah.
Think of yourself as the host of the evening and tell a couple jokes. Welcome them for coming. Dad's getting ready, blah, blah, blah. Say a couple jokes and then fire them up. You're more like a warm-up guy. Don't think of it as like stand-up.
Right.
So once he said that, I kind of eased into it. And then, you know, I eased my way through it. You know, and by the time the end of the year came, I was doing like 15 to 20 minutes. Still not, I wouldn't say it was great. I don't know if it was ever great, to be honest. But 10 years, I was able to fake it through. So I would open for guys like Tom Jones, Paul Anka, Dionne Warwick, the Four Tops, the Temptations, just anyone that's in my dad's kind of category as a performer. And I did that for 10 years. And so I was in a lot of casino towns. You know, so when you're working 15 minutes a night, when you're opening for Tom Jones in Council Bluffs, Iowa, for 3 nights, what else is there to do when you're at Harvey's Casino in Council Bluffs, Iowa?
But you don't drink, so.
And I don't drink, so blackjack, you know? So it got to the point where it was really bad. Like I was leaving, I wasn't coming home with the paychecks, you know? I was just working for free. You know, I was having a blast, but I was also tormented by this. And then it got so bad at one point I got into the mob for about $50K in Atlantic City. Had a guy put a gun to my head in my dressing room. I had a lot of crazy happen to me, man. And then when September 11th happened, I mean, I was almost at one point. It was bad. And then when September 11th happened, I had 2 friends that died in Tower 1. And that was kind of my wake-up call. I know that kind of sounds like cliche or whatever, but, you know, I realized how precious life was. And that my problems, there's bigger problems that you could have. And what the am I doing? Like, you know, get it together, you know? And I just got it together.
So you completely stopped?
I completely stopped for 2 years.
Wow.
Nothing. And then I had a real job. I quit doing stand-up, and I started a PR firm. And it wasn't until then that I realized what it really is to grind for the money.
Yeah.
You know, because everything came easy to me in life up until that point. And then I respected the money. And then once I respected the money, it changed how I gamble, you know, and then I would test myself and like just play with friends. You know, am I capable of just betting $15 a hand, $25 a hand? It doesn't have to be $500, $1,000, whatever.
Damn, you were doing $1,000 a hand?
Yeah.
And this is 20 years ago. That's a lot.
Yeah. I went through a lot of money, a lot of cash. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was bad. Like I'd saved a lot of money from stand up.
Yeah.
But relative to what I was making, I should have had millions.
Wow, you were making millions from stand-up?
Well, over 10 years. So I was making anywhere from $20,000 to $50,000 a month at one point.
Damn. I didn't know the money was that good in stand-up.
Well, it's not unless you're an opening act for guys like Tom Jones or whatever, you know.
So you got to be in there.
Yeah. You know, now I honestly don't know what it's like. You know, I don't even know what the pay's like. But back then, yeah, I mean, you get minimum $1,500 for a night, so you do 3 nights a week.
Solid.
You know. Yeah.
Dude, you got a crazy story, man. I had no idea.
Yeah.
But we got to wrap up. Anything you want to close off with? Man,
it's a privilege to be on with you. You know, I thank you for being so supportive of the studio, and it's been great getting to know you. And you know, I love everything you've been doing.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
You get some insane guests, and I was hoping, you know, this was like almost like getting the call from Rogan to me. Like, you know, you're like, hey, you want to do the show? And I was like, I'll do it. I love it. Thank you. So thank you.
You killed it, man. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow.